all in this first game.
Yeah, I really gonna hope this is a super close back and forth match. I really think because even if you're top 2 team, if you're a pickup, you are almost kind of limited with lack of synergy. And XLSX definitely has it going for it that they are a full team. We're seeing the double L3 from XLSX coming out. They've been running that quite a bit this tournament actually, and I'm very confident about it. Even if it is a kind of a double-edged sword, XLSX has been handling it very well and kind of showing how you should do it today. We're seeing more of a standard comp coming out from Pufferfish, even though the Neo Splash is kind of the more odd pick, but I'm digging it. I like it in this map. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, it seems like ever since Astral has been going like triple L3 or double L3 and H3 lately, it seems like a lot of other teams, especially European teams, are kind of taking on to that approach. And as we see teams like SLSX or whatever the team is, as we see teams like that start to kind of adopt that strategy, I think more and more teams are going to get used to it. We'll see how it ends up working out. Now they do get an initial kind of control of the middle of the map, but as they get taken out now, they're going to have to go for a take back, and this is a really difficult map to take back on. So it's really going to come down to like, you know, how coordinated these teams are, how well they are able to coordinate specials. We see Inkjet going off right now as both teams just try to go towards zone and play objective. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it's exactly. The double L3, of course, is a very strong combination, even on this map, since it does have more range than your typical Slayer. Maybe it's a little bit less than Caper, but it's more than, I'd say, the 10 attack, and definitely more than the Splash Show that Pufferfish is running. So using the double L3, it also paints like a ridiculous monster. They can hopefully pick back the zone very quickly. They're kind of in a little trouble now, and only 10 ticks left, and then we see Zay here. He's struggling. 2 people are fighting him. Uses Inkjet to hopefully pick up the Junior, but he doesn't get that. Junior gets taken up by Saber, and now they just got the zone just in time. Good coordination by XLSX. Just even maybe waiting a little bit to get everyone back, but just waiting, not just acting fast enough so they get that zone. And now it's up to XLSX to hold that zone.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a lack of forward presence here with the way that they were able to set up after that zone take, but as long as they're able to not get wiped here, they should be in a decent position. Armor already went down for Pufferfish, so it's going to be a little bit before they're able to get some more coordinated specials going on. As the Junior continues to build meter, we'll see how it works out, but XLSX being proactive, throwing bombs to the other side of the map, popping that baller to get really aggressive, and they're going to be really thorough about their hold. Maybe we didn't expect them to be able to get a wipe so much with the way that they kind of held map after that initial hold, but this is really good for them.
Yeah, they didn't have much ground to stand on after they kept that zone, but I think the little ground they had, they just opted very well and used that everything they have just to get the maybe triple, get that late wipe. That's enough probably for them right now, and Junior going ham, getting a nice little double splat, and even though they got a double splat, there's still people from Pufferfish pushing on the zone, and XLSX giving everything to hold the zone, getting us, maybe losing an opponent, losing a teammate, but holding the zone, and that is enough for them to make a nice comeback.
That ending was really confusing looking, because it looked to me like Pufferfish basically got in the zone. Like a bomb rush is going off, I think a Booyah Bomb had just gone off before that, the zone looked really yellow, and like in my brain, like I just assumed that they were getting the cap, and didn't even think about the fact that XLSX could win right there, but no, they were able to actually stop that bomb rush from taking zone, and once members started respawning and jumping in, the 2 members that were alive from Pufferfish weren't able to stop zone, and that kind of ended almost prematurely.
Yeah, but of course, just sort of the double L3, because those 2 were alive, just gives so much painting power, and even they can just opt to decide, okay, we're not going to slay right now, we're going to use our weapon to do this crazy painting, and that's, well, it doesn't really matter how many splats you get. If you don't get objective, you can't win, and actors still made the good decision to not go for those splats, but go for the objective. Even if they lost members, they just bought enough time to get the zone down to 0, which is all you really need.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where, like, strategically thinking-wise, like, you're able to more or less think about what you're going to do and just kind of make the right decisions and feel comfortable doing things that you're really experienced with. But when it comes to situations like that, where it's coming down to the wire and you have to make these split-second decisions, like, do I go for objective? Do I go for this kill? Where do I position myself? Like, those kind of things you don't have time to think about, and it all has to be instinct and from experience. And we kind of saw right there that XLSX they knew exactly what to do at that time.
Yes, I think there's probably a lot of experience from probably scrimming and even facing teams. So just Alliance Rogue, which is just a super team on their own, even if it's a pickup. And these, well, right now, if we're counting the European Championship, the strongest team from the European Championship, as they won last year, and they're of course back this year. So XLSX definitely has a lot of experience facing them. and that's probably what helped them win this match, is having so much top level experience. Even if they are super unknown players, the France community is just the whole thing on its own, and well, you can make giant, I believe there already are giant tournaments just based in France. And if you get so much high level practice there, then bringing that overseas just helps you a lot. And you know, a lot of people from NA and a lot of people from Europe do have a different mindset. It's not really that much different, but you can definitely see differences in terms of weapon usage. Double L3, for example, is a lot more popular in Europe, I believe, than it is in NA. And well, you can see right there, even if it's more risky strat, they could make it work because they have to be practicing it so much.
Yeah, I understand why L3 would be chosen like that, because if you kind of look at the weapons that were really good in Splat 1, a lot of them were good because they were sort of designed with strengths that were based around the assumption that the weapon would be too difficult to use consistently, and therefore it was okay to kind of give that weapon certain tools to make up for that. You know, you look at things like the custom range blaster, like the Cherry, etc., that were quote-unquote hard to use weapons, but then they got these invincibility kits and stuff to make up for it. L3 isn't quite as egregious of a loadout. You know, it does have the curling bomb, which isn't that strong, but the fact that that weapon has a baller, once players get really good at L3, they get so many ballers so often, and they're kind of using the weapon without any downsides, that it kind of feels like a Splat 1 weapon in a way, where it's like, it's just so powerful, and the only balancing factor is supposed to be that it's hard to use, but that just doesn't come through in practice.
No, especially on L3, so you can madly spam shots, and while L3D could also get, I believe, like 190 point inkjet, which is ridiculously fast compared to almost every other inkjet weapon. I want to make a quick mention. We have a $50 donation from Kratosauron0 with hashtag NAWin. Where are the EU donations? We need more EU donations, IMO, but that's probably because it's from Europe.
Says the European caster.
Well, of course, I think every caster will vouch for their own region, if I'm being honest here.
It depends on if my friends just won on stream or not, because if they lose, I might just kind of start rooting for the other side. But right now, we see a lot of back and forth at the start of this game, but Pufferfish, gosh, these teams are so hard to remember. Team Pufferfish comes out on top of the initial scramble after a little bit of zone time from XLSX, and now we get to see how XLSX is going to try to have a comeback, a map take back, I'm sorry, on this sort of a situation, because last game, like, they really didn't have that much difficulty making a map comeback, and then from then on they were basically in control zone, so we didn't really get to see much of their ability to come back from a worse position, and so far it seems pretty decent. They're able to get some picks, they're able to take the zone. Let's see how much they're able to hold. There is an armor at the ready from Team Pufferfish, and Bomb Rush and Inkstorm should be ready soon, so they're definitely going to have some opposition coming up.
Yes, but of course I see XLSX changing up that L3D 4D10 attack. They did probably realize that double L3, even if they won, they barely won at last game, so often to playing a little bit more safer, which is a very good decision on this map. Of course, a 10 attack is I think it's a more faster, consistent weapon than the L3 can ever be. As good as you can be with it, the 10 attack is more consistent, and they're using this 10 attack very well just to get generally the same paint, which is a little bit safer. The L3 also has bot already, so they've been stopping every single push that they've been facing from Pufferfish, and Pufferfish is slowly but surely just getting a lot more trouble, and XLSX definitely, even if they lost the initial fight, they've been putting a lot more pressure onto them than they did last game, and Pufferfish doesn't really have a crazy good way to respond to that. The switch from Pufferfish to the H3 is something I generally kind of disagree with. Maybe even if it's good on this map, you're giving up your fast armor for more range, which is a good counter against those H3, or against the double L3, but now the switch to 10 attack, your H3 is just getting a little more trouble, because the 10 attack can go in easier than the L3 can, so maybe... Yeah,
well, I mean, that's kind of why they didn't pick the L3 on this map in the first place, right? Because this is a map where it's really hard to get in sometimes, so you really need your weapon to be kind of, like, at full operational status at all times, where, like, L3 and H3 can kind of get stuck being in a weird combat situation that they can't fight through. So you would think that, like, you know, not choosing L3 would also mean not choosing H3, but the H3 being chosen here does kind of add that that element of, you know, uncertainty when it comes to, like, will this weapon be able to perform in kind of high pressure situations when I need it to, when I need to get back into the map. And I think you're right. I think that that deficit is kind of showing.
Yes, but we see that Pufferfish did manage to get the zone back for a little bit, but not enough, and XLSX got the zone back, well, I think fairly quickly from Pufferfish, but Pufferfish definitely shows that they have strength. The armor just went out, and it's 2 down on the side of XLSX, so I think the XLSX have to back out there and give those zones away to Pufferfish, but we've shown earlier they've won a 2v4, but unfortunately this time they don't. L3 going in a bit too deep, and of course it's risky. You can make it going 99 damage with your burst, but if you miss one of those shots, well, that is a lot of damage gone. I mean, it's 33 damage per shot. If you miss one of your shots, goodbye. You're basically gone. And unfortunately, what happened there? A little trade from the ball point, but XLSX still just keeping those zones, even if they lose it, only for a couple ticks, and then they get it back just so quickly. They're showing that their comp is just so much painting power coming out from that L3 Junior and the Tent Attack. And the H3 is, I think, for Pufferfish, kind of their double-edged sword, and it's not going in their favor.
Yep. Any way that we can get Tic Tac to stop playing H3 is good, so you just keep trash talking that weapon.
I'm not saying it's a bad weapon. I love playing H3.
No, you are. No.
It's a really fun weapon, but it's not working for them right now. Just because it's discounted by rushers, just the L3 and Tent Attack, and it would have probably worked if there were 2 L3s because you could outrange them a lot of the time. But
yeah,
you can't outrange if you can outrange them, but you can't. Well, stop them from approaching you, and then it's not really working. It's really the risk of using that H3.
It's like a little bit of rock, paper, scissors at the weapon select screen sometimes. It's like, well, if they go double H3 again and I go this, will be an advantage, and the screen loads up and L3, and there's one L3, and you're like, oh crap.
See, actually getting wiped here, and this is the moment that Puffers has to take, but Axel says, well, we've seen them already, they can make comebacks, and they can make these pushes happen, and even if Pufferfish have 2 specials ready and Axel have no special ready at all, well, we'll have to wait and see what this
There's a lot of factors going back and forth, because this is also a hard map to get back in on. This is one of those kind of Splat Zones maps where it's just kind of notorious for, a team just tries to get back in, they all just die before they get into mid. Bliss right now throws down the Inkstorm, he's painting from above, he should be able to take back this zone so the overtime timer isn't going to affect them. Only a few seconds left, 1 member down from each team. Bliss tries to paint this zone, trying to die from the Inkstorm because there's some people over there to your right. Okay, he backs up, some teammates show up, the overtime... Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
This is crazy, and the zone got neutralized by the L3. L3 goes down with 2 ticks left. Can they make it? No, they can't. And it's a very strong combat from Pufferfish, showing that even if the H3, it ended up working out for them.
Yeah. We could also give all the credit to everyone except the H3, but we'll be nice today.
Bliss at the end definitely popped off. Well, I don't think it did actually bad looking at all those splats, but Bliss at the end definitely popped off with this painting.
Yeah. I mean, ballpoint is so ridiculous on that map. Like,
ballpoint is huge in that map. It's just, you have all the short range to paint the zone crazy with that range. You put even more paint out. You can just stand on that mass and just keep on punishing and just raining down ink everywhere. It's just a super strong and not even that crazy hard to use weapon, and that's why we saw both teams using one. But I'm sort of surprised. I actually thought XLSX would win the last fight and take back the stone. So I'm happy. I'm happy to see that it's a really such a super close back and forth match.
Yeah, I mean, after the first game and the momentum leading into the second game, I also kind of had that feeling like, oh gosh, like this is gonna be a one-sided match. But no, the momentum has definitely shifted towards Pufferfish about the halfway point of the game. Like it's not a case of like, oh, they just happened to get a last-second comeback. Like I think that it was pretty obvious that the hold that XLSX was having over the map was becoming less and less consistent over time after the beginning of the match, and by the time we got to the end of that game, Pufferfish was basically at equal footing or above, and then when they actually got their hold in, it was very thorough.
Yes, but the last fight, also Pufferfish had those 2 specials ready that XLSX didn't, and that's a huge disadvantage for them, and that showed that those specials used right are just so important. There was a quick mention that Kraken Paradise went 2-2 against In Control. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I know it was 1-1 earlier. So you said it's 2-1. It was 2-2. The entire set just ended 2-2. Wow, that's interesting. In Control has been showing up today. I mean, I know that there was some murmurs, some talk about like, oh man, like Swiss kind of like maybe boosted them a little bit too high, this, that, and the other. But man, whether or not they quote-unquote deserve to get second seed coming into this from yesterday, or if they deserved a lower seed, they are taking advantage of it today.
They're showing, definitely. And Well, of course, maybe Switch definitely can boost you, but if you get top in Swiss, well, that's not really lucky a lot of the time, and I don't think it was lucky for them either. I think I saw the matches earlier; they were very strong against Polaris, and it did not only gave them the last game, and that was a super close game. Polaris only won it by a hair, I would say. So in Control, definitely, I think for me, deserved that high seed.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
And we see XLSX here picking Tower Control Piranha Pit. This is one of those maps where L3, double L3 can really shine. Just
they have so much paint for ballers. Like even beside from the fact that like your base comes with like you know, a football stadium's worth of just extra turf where it's like, hey, you respawn, you need baller, look to your left. You know, even if you ignore that, this map is still really large and open, and chances are, no matter what you do, if you're a weapon like L3 that can paint a lot, you're going to be able to build so much meter and just incidentally in every little situation that you're gonna have ballers all the time.
And even for if they're playing L3D again, there's so many flanking opportunities for that L3D to just spam that burst bomb and get a quick little pick off if they needed to, because there's just so much little cover and all these little hills and the giant rams, the block in the middle, and those cushions everywhere that you can just kind of sit against, or you just do stay cover, you used to run away. That's just very scary if you are playing against that double L3, and I definitely think X is going to bring it out here today, and now it's up to Pufferfish if they're going to use that H3 again to counter it, or if they're going to play it safe and go back to the junior, because I think XLSX is going to play the same comp they've played in the first round, the first match against Pufferfish, but we'll have to see. Pufferfish is taking a little bit of time to choose their comp. Both teams are ready, and we're going to see if I was right or not.
In before there's no L3.
Before there's no L3. Well, it's definitely a possibility, but I think a normal L3 is just really strong on this map, so I think I'm going to see that.
I mean, all three L3s are actually kind of good here. It's not like you would really expect the hammer one, but still. Okay, so I see
it's
one
the
L3.
L3D. Well, yeah, I can see why it...
Well, burst bombs are good here, says Hetzel. You know?
Yeah, burst bombs are good here, so I can see why. Double Junior and K-Pro coming out from XLSX, but no K-Pro from Pufferfish, which is kind of interesting. You opted to go for the K-Shot. Oh, actually, do have a K-Pro, my bad, I wasn't looking right.
All you spider shots look alike.
I mean, I kind of do. just like the K-Pro or the Special Pro, it's kind of just put the Spanish normal explosion on Photoshop and you stretch it and there you go, you got a Special Pro. That's kind of how they designed it.
Yeah.
But we see X like getting a nice lead early on here, first minute, getting it over half the map and past the first checkpoint, but they're getting wiped here now. That's a very strong push for the beginning of the game.
Yeah, no, unfortunately with the way tower control works, it's going to take a while to actually start scoring points if you're Pufferfish, so you're not going to be able to make like a huge counter push with the tower, but you are going to be able to get a lot of map control and get a lot of specials ready. So if you can go without getting picked off for the next maybe 15, 20 more seconds, your push should be super powerful. We see the missile going off now, we see the armor ready, armor goes off, and the Booyah Bomb goes off. Okay, so here comes the specials. How effective is it going to be? We see some members of XLS going down. This is the green light to stay on tower, to keep going. Tic Tac does get taken off. Is there a revenge pick? It looks like there is. This Inkjet, though, is going to put a stop to that, and after all is said and done, only a push to 68. What could have been, I'd say, a little bit better of a push out of Pufferfish. Kind of get stopped by just some well-placed shots and a good Inkjet usage from Shoxy here. And we're going to have to see exactly how both teams are going to be able to put together better pushes, because so far this is pretty low scoring. Yeah,
the thing with this map is, which I always like, is just this map is easy for defending, especially on tower control. So the tower goes next to all your high ground. So having so much high ground, you don't even have to go in to stop the tower at that exact point. And the kind of the death zone is if you get the tower beyond their ramp or after their ramp. It's really hard to stop it at that point.
Yeah, like you're always at striking distance, right? It's like you can't say anything funny because she's just gonna slap you. I'm trying to push a tower, dear. No.
And that's definitely happening here. Both teams cannot get the tower past the, I would say, kind of call it the dead zone, which I always call it. It's this literally tiny little sort of area in between the ramp and the overlook. But if neither teams can get it, that means that Pufferfish right now is the one that has to push harder.
Get the junior, kill him.
Oh, poor Bliss could not get the junior.
I'm gonna blame RNG. It's just I was aiming right at him, you know.
Yeah.
Gonna get the roll. But I mean, this is pretty bad for Pufferfish. I mean, their backline is down. The K-Shot's forced to back up all the way to here. He does use his special, but I don't really think that it stopped tower much. On the bright side, he might be able to take out this K-Pro user as other members of XLSX die. That's good, but like you said, they kind of push that tower past that kind of that death zone, that critical point where it's really hard to push the tower past that point, and it starts to get easier to push the tower afterwards. And they cleared that checkpoint. So if we don't really see the best push from Pufferfish in the next minute and a little bit over a minute and a half in this game, this could be a win with 44 points out of XLSX, but it's still not the biggest lead, I suppose. So it could go either way, but depending on how things go, we could see this game end at 44.
Yeah, but as I said right now, there's a really big advantage that they don't really have to push anymore. If they would like to defend for the entire game, well, it's up to them and they can. And I'm pretty sure they're opting to go for the defend, getting a nice pick on the tower. Bliss now just getting pushed back, but also getting picked off by XA. And this is their push from Pufferfish already stopped, only getting a couple points from that. And this is an XLSX. Now all they have to do is get the tower to their dead zone, waste a lot of time, and then start defending again, which unfortunately they cannot do. The tower gets quickly taken back by Pufferfish, and with the backliner and L3D down for XLSX, this is going to be a little bit of trouble, because the tower is now going through that dead zone, and there's no one there to hold it, and it just went through it, and now XLSX have to put in a lot more effort to stop the push. Buibon coming go out from Pufferfish, and Pufferfish is 1 point in the lead, and they got the lead!
Nice. Yeah, that was a pretty effortless push right there. It seemed like all game long, Pufferfish was having such a difficult time moving past, not even the checkpoint, just past that kind of danger zone that you were talking about. But as soon as they were able to take out key members of XLSX, they recognized the advantage and they went right for it and just almost effortlessly pushed that tower to a winning position. Now the tables are reversed. There's 30 seconds left. XLSX doesn't even have the tower to mid yet. They're forced to burn specials just to get the tower to mid, and now they have to basically win in overtime, because by the time the tower can potentially get to where they need it to start to score points, they're at a point where it's really easy for Pufferfish to just use a special, stop the tower, jump on it, and stop overtime.
Yeah, good for XLSX that they did save up their Booyah Bomb, so they can still use Booyah on their Overlook to try to push the tower just a tiny bit further. And they got it through the dead zone, but there's so many members down right now, and now it's up to Saber and Say if they can get it. They got a nice pick on the tower, the Ballpoint's still alive, they're almost on the checkpoint, Ballpoint goes down, and Bliss ends up clutching. The jump was just too late. That was again, very close game, and X is almost making that comeback again.
Yeah, almost, but not quite.
Not quite.
The not deep blue scene was able to hold that, and unfortunately, so off stream yesterday there was it was Sayonara versus Someday. It was a match to determine who actually made it here today, and Sayonara. It looked like a Splat 1 match where there was just it looked like the team was wiped, and then all of a sudden people started jumping the tower and didn't stop, and the game didn't end for a second. Just in the sky right before the game ended, we saw someone landing on tower. So in the back of my mind, I was like, oh no, is this just going to be like a jump chain to tower, and that's actually going to take an important tournament set again in Splat 2? But no, it wasn't, and Bliss was able to kind of secure that pretty thoroughly.
Luckily that we don't have those long discontinuous jumping set to the tower that we had on Splatoon 1. Luckily we don't have those in Splatoon 2. But I was kind of scared that Pufferfish would lose this set in overtime, because Access is almost...
it was sketchy. It was sketchy.
It was really sketchy. But Bliss pulled off again at the end, which they also did last game. So maybe if they're good, or they're good enough, and if they can do one more again, that Bliss can pull off that clutch in the third game, because Blitz has been clutching the last 2 games now.
Yeah, Bliss is so strong. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere, but it's kind of undeniable. You can't really mess with the results that he's been putting up consistently, and he's one of the better backliners in NA, and it just seems like every tournament he's one of the best backliners, period. Yeah,
I don't know much about the NA team, because, well, not from me. But Bliss definitely has been showing off this entire tournament that they are like, okay, well, we have to clutch, well, let's go and clutch then. And XLSX opting to choose for Splatstone's Black Belly, going from a really big map.
This is a really different map than everything we've been seeing.
Map. L3 baller?
Yeah, well, you know the thing about Black Belly? Sometimes people just can't play Black Belly, so it's like, hey, let's just counterpick something that's just super awkward, and maybe our opponents will just suck at it. It could happen.
That's definitely also a way of looking at it. I think it's for the L3 because L3, normal L3 is kind of scary on top of the tower and flying.
Well, what close range weapons do you think are going to be picked? Because it seems like you can never go into Black Belly without some people like, oh, I have to play like Luna or Tri-Slasher or like some kind of roller. Or, like, I mean, do you know much about? I mean, I know that Kiri can play like Sploosh and stuff. We know that we can see rollers and stuff out of these guys as well. Like, do you know of any close range weapons to expect out of XLSS with your knowledge of these EU guys?
Maybe a Splasho. Maybe Splasho Medic, maybe Splasho Nito, and
it's pretty good here.
I think either Ten Attack or Cancel Shell will be very logical pick.
So you're still expecting shooters out of them, just closer range shooters than maybe we were seeing earlier?
Yes, I don't think they have a roller player or
gotcha.
a blaster player. So I'm pretty sure this is going for those shooters because that's their safest bet, and they have to go all out to Smash because otherwise they would lose 3-1. And I think XLSX really want that forward game to go for them, so they at least have a 2-2.
Yeah, at this point, like, and as a reminder to everyone watching, the way that this section of the tournament works is that between NA and EU, it comes down to game count, not set count. So every single game matters. So even if like this was like a 3-0 situation, this match would still be important because it really can come down to a matter of games whether or not you're moving forward.
And we do see that was right, and XLSX does have to go for the double L3 ballers galore, I would say. Just a very strong baller map, and just a very strong L3 map overall. Curling Bomb's maybe not the best up here, but this double baller is super annoying.
Yeah.
There's two ballers, two ballers, two zones, it's both cap for you instantly. Just you basically have invincibility zone cap, and they can also just have a lot of flank opportunities going through the left for them. So we'll have to see what Pufferfish has to do against Pufferfish. A bit of a safer comp, though with the Tri-Slasher double armor, which is interesting. I've seen the Tri-Slasher, vanilla Tri-Slasher in quite a long time.
Unless it's Black Belly, right?
Unless it's Black Belly, that's the only map you'll see it, and of course, in Black Belly Pufferfish, we'll see it. But Pufferfish kind of having a little bit of trouble dealing with the double L3 from XLSX.
With armors as well, right?
With armors, they've been showing that this double L3 comp, if they stick together, just deals us so much damage. We've seen Olive do this, we've XLSX do this, and I'm going to see one more team do this. This is crazy amount of close range damage on this map. It's almost unbeatable by your regular Slayers, and Pufferfish kind of have to find a way around that. Probably by heavily countering the Junior and heavily countering the ballpoint, so they lose points of the turf, because I don't think these L3s are going for crazy amount of the turf now. I think they're definitely going more for splats, because that's just their job right now. Make sure that the Tri-Slasher and Junior from Pufferfish cannot get anywhere, not get armor ever.
Well, we've seen this situation before. XLSS pretty much dominating for most of the game, and then they're finally full wiped and back in their base. Now we get to see how their takebacks look like on Black Belly, which is going to be different than what we've seen so far. Looking good so far. The L3s are able to get the picks out. Never mind. It looked fine for a second, then you look at the top of the screen and realize all your friends are dead.
Yeah, they got wiped very quickly, but I still think XLSX can get this back, because they're slowly also picking up some members from Pufferfish, and even if it's on a wipe, if you can get the Slayers gone, that's already a lot, and they ended up picking up 2 people from Pufferfish, and this is their counter push right here. Even if the Junior from XLSX goes down, they neutralize the zones, even got them back for a second just to get a penalty, and it may not be, of course, well, they are in the lead, but it may not, of course, your penalty gone, but it does give your team a little bit more breathing room to get that specialist back and to push in. But at the same time now, it does also give Pufferfish some breathing room to get back those specialists, even if they are more pressure than XLSX is.
Yeah, because XLSX's base is basically all orange at this point, so any back and forth that happens, as far as like painting, is going to result in more meter for Pufferfish than they're supposed to go. And if you look at their special, some of them are getting pretty close. The Junior's close to armor, the ballpoint is close to Inkstorm, just assuming the fact that, he has long enough range to actually get that ink painted from top mid. And yeah, now he's up into like about the 3/4 mark. Clock's kicking down really quickly. XLSS is going to have to get a little bit desperate here, and they are. Here comes the baller. Are they going to be able to get both zones?
They got both zones, booking another penalty, and still in the lead, but just only by a tiny bit, only by 9 points. But that's still 9 points in the lead, and they are slowly but surely taking back the map and player count, which is what they've been trying to do for this entire game, and finally having it again in their control, and now they have to hold it for around 50 ticks. And we'll have to see how Pufferfish responds to this, because they have a bit more of a paint-heavy turf than XLSX have. Their slaying potential is definitely a lot lower, and I think that's going to be just troublesome for them. Because
it really depends on how much they're going to keep those ballers under control. I mean, ballers, while they're really, really good at paint control and slaying and stuff out of L3, they sometimes can be a little bit less effective at actually taking back the map when you're in a full base lock situation. So if Pufferfish is able to get these picks right now, and they're able to, you know, kind of force the push to come down to some baller pushes into like a bunch of long-range weapons kind of posted up and you know, just breaking them, it's going to be really difficult. But it looks like that's not really the case. Pufferfish hasn't been able to get very clean kills in a while. While they're down to a 3-1 situation right now, there's not that much time on the clock. So, okay, this has to happen. This cap has to happen, and Pufferfish has to get into a better holding position than they have so far this game.
Yeah, we saw the ball point from XLSX getting a nice little double there. Still just holding on, giving everything, and even if they fell down, then you, okay, if they can take down someone, that's still taking down someone. I believe they took down the junior on Pufferfish, and while only having 1 armor ready instead of 2, it can be a disadvantage right now, even if XLSX only have 1 armor, but we see now basically a fight to the death for both teams, and Pufferfish losing 2 members, while XLSX still have everyone on the map. XLSX painting both of the zones, and it's up to Bliss right now. Can they clutch again? No,
that looks difficult. Yeah.
It's 5 seconds left for Pufferfish. Can they get these zones and win in overtime? They got both of the zones, but now they have to face the painting power from the double L3. Taylor is on their own right now on the left zone, trying to get back as much as they can. Rain coming out from XLSX, and this is just going down to wire. XLSX losing a couple of their members. Zones are getting recapped for Pufferfish, but still, though, it's still 50 ticks away from victory, and Pufferfish having other players back up and almost having armor and 2 ballers ready. This is going to be a little tough for Pufferfish.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough for Pufferfish. I mean, but also, XLSX is in desperation mode. It's an overtime situation. There's not that much time left. They're able to take 1 zone, but what's going to happen after that? Bliss right now in position to help his teammates. This is going to shred that ball if he doesn't pop it right away. Gets pushed back. Have the hold zone, though, if you're Pufferfish. Are you able to do it? Bliss gets a pick. On the other side of the map, looks like everyone else got picks. That's a full wipe. I think this is going to be it.
I think it's just yet 2. Pufferfish going crazy, getting another super clutch Bliss. Bliss for MVP this game. Bliss is the MVP. Calling it out. They have been performing amazing under these stress conditions, and a nice comeback from Pufferfish in the end. I did not expect that.
What are the kills? Oh, well, Tic Tac only top scored because he was playing an easy armor weapon.